In the late 1980s, a Soviet drilling crew in Siberia dropped a microphone into the earth. And according to the story, what they heard changed everything. It wasn't seismic activity they heard. They didn't hear shifting rock. What they heard was screaming voices. Thousands of voices. One engineer in particular reportedly passed out. Another ran out of the room. And a senior scientist was heard whispering, "We have drilled into hell." But let's back up for 1 second, all right? This wasn't just some random hole in the ground. They weren't just drilling for oil. This was part of the Kola Super Deep Borehole Project, launched in the 1970s and deep in the Russian Arctic. The goal was to drill further than anyone had ever drilled before. And by 1989, they had reached a depth of 7.6 miles down. That's over 40,000 feet. The temperatures at that depth were way hotter than expected, and the pressure was unpredictable. Then came the moment. The drill suddenly lurched forward as if it had broken through into empty space. Thinking that they had found an underground chamber, they lowered instruments. One of them was a heat-resistant microphone, and what came back was terrifying. At first, all they heard was static, and then faint noises, and then they heard this. Okay. Thousands of people screaming. Thousands of people buried in the earth. Still alive. Seemingly. The story goes that the scientists fled, and not long after they did, a copy of this audio surfaced, and it made its way onto Christian radio stations all across the United States. And preachers all across the world aired this as evidence that hell was real. The tape was played in churches, on cassette tapes, in sermons. The story became known as the Well to Hell. But here's the twist. The audio, it was fake. Absolutely fake. A Norwegian man admitted that he made the whole thing up. The screams were pulled from an old Italian horror film. The scientist quotes were completely fabricated. But the part that gets people is that the Kola Borehole Project, the project was real. And some of the Soviet crew really did leave without any explanation. Even today, visitors to the area report strange energy, glitching GPSs, compasses spinning all about. Locals whisper about bones that don't belong there, about how the hole went way deeper than the government ever admitted. So when you take all that into consideration and you hear that recording, even knowing it's a fake, something in your gut still makes you wonder, what if it wasn't? Damn it, man.